Hey YouTube, what's going on? It's your girl Steph, and I'm back with another video. And in today's video, I will be introducing you to my family. Meet my husband David.
Hey YouTube.
And my daughter Paige. We will be sharing how we met. So, if you'd like to hear that story, please make sure you hit that notification bell and that subscribe button. And we are ready to jump right in. Stay tuned. Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel and thanks for stopping by. In today's video, David and I will be sharing how we met. So, should you get started or should I?
Let me tell my side of the story first.
Okay.
So, we had a recruiting event and I went into the event and I was presenting some job opportunities. And there were general, like, different sectors, nothing specific, and I saw Stephanie there, and with each opportunity I started to talk about, she didn't show any interest at all.
True.
And I kept going down the list because I was like, eventually something has to pique her interest. She never even looked up once. And I walked over to her, I took a look at the resume, I saw that she was had a lot of admin and communication skills and everything that you would need for one of the opportunities I presented her, and asked her why she wasn't interested, and she kind of like blew me off a little bit.
Okay, pause. Can I put a pin in it? I'm going to tell my version.
All right.
Okay, so David did walk into the room, and it's so weird because right before he started to discuss his opportunities, the guy next to me told me he was supposed to be like the Michael Jordan of job placements.
LeBron James of job placements.
Oh, excuse me, whoever you think is best. And so I thought like, okay, well, this is a good person to know. But when he started to tell, like, basically say the opportunities he had, none of them piqued my interest because it wasn't in any of the, it wasn't in the industry that I was in. And so after he basically did his little spiel, he walked over to me and he said, well, what type of work are you looking for? And I said, I'm looking for something in the entertainment industry.
Right, creative.
Creative. And so he said, okay, come see me during lunch. And I'm like, okay, cool. I was like, why did he just kind of like single me out and walk over
that
to
feeling,
me?
And here we are now, so.
But it's a long story before we actually got here. So,
exactly.
I went to go see him during lunch, and as soon as I got to his office, I sat down. He gave me a piece of gum. I wasn't really sure about that. I'm like, wait, hold up. What is this about?
There was no, I wasn't trying to imply anything.
I know he ate
courteous.
He ate a piece of gum too, right? So I didn't think anything of it. And so, I discussed what type of work I was looking for, and so he did have an opportunity for me. Fast forward, I went to the interview. I actually got the job. He did set it up, but I wasn't interested in the job. And so I guess the company called David, and then he followed up with me, and I told him that I wasn't interested. And of course, he convinced me to take the job and told me in the meantime, he will continue to look for something that was more suitable. Exactly. So that was like our first introduction. But that we kind of lost touch from there. Like, we had no reason to keep in contact.
I was keeping it professional.
Right. But we ran into each other when I was on a date. I was actually I went out with this guy who ended up being a jerk, by the way. I just wanted to throw that in. But I was on a date with this guy at some restaurant in Manhattan. And David, that's before he even, before he pops up. We were at our table looking over the menu, and then we just heard someone say, are you guys ready to order? I look up and it's David. And we chuckle, we laugh, and we make small talk. But my date is like a little bothered. He's like looking like, who is this guy? And so, we spoke for a few minutes and then David left. And I told the guy that I was with that he was a business associate. And I left it at that. But do you kind of want to piggyback off of that story, or is that the same?
Yeah, and I didn't work at the restaurant when I went up and said, are you guys ready to order? That was just my way of trying to get her attention. I actually was there for another restaurant event, and it was just coincidence or not that Steph was there at the same time, completely in a different part of the city where we would even possibly bump into each other. So, that was the first connection after we originally met.
Right. So, fast forward. David used to pop up at my office often. And I wasn't sure if he was coming by because he liked the girl in the office or if he was checking for me. I was a little uncertain. But I do remember this one particular time he came, and I guess he was in the middle of, well, not I guess, but he was in the middle of relocating. He was moving from one place to another. And so he came and he wanted my opinion on a place that he was actually checking out. And I was being a little standoffish. So I was like, well, whatever. If that's what you like, then move in. And he was like, yeah, well, I think it's cool. So what did you actually say?
I actually said, you should come check it out because you're going to be spending a lot of time there.
And I was like, oh, please. So it was the end of the workday. I don't know if you remember, but you ended up walking me to the train station.
Mm-hmm.
And on the way to the train station, it was Memorial Weekend. He asked if I had plans for the weekend, and I told him I didn't have any plans, and that I was looking for something to do. And he told me, oh, I was thinking about throwing a party on my rooftop. And I was like, oh, you should, because if you do, I'm going to come through. He was like, oh, you're going to come? We're having a party. I'm like, okay, I'm down. And so he lived up to his word. He threw a party. I ended up showing up. And that was like the first time we actually hung out.
Right, and I just want to say one thing. I really didn't have any concrete plans to throw a party. But when she said she'd come, I pulled out all the stops. Fully stocked bar, I got a chef, did it up, I'm glad she showed up.
And it was a really, really nice event. But prior to that event, David did invite me out a few times. I did turn it down only because I wasn't looking to date or wasn't interested in dating at the moment. But he was really persistent. But after hanging out with him on Memorial Day, that weekend or that day, I felt like he was really cool, and I didn't mind hanging out with him again. So when he asked me out again, I was a little more, obliged. Like I said, okay, why not? And so I think I remember this clearly. You invited me out to dinner, but you told me, oh, can you stop by my home office? I need to get changed. I need to change. And I was like, excuse me? I know you did not just invite me to your house. He was like, oh, no, it's not like that. I just want to change and I don't want to have you waiting. So if you don't mind, you can just, wait in the office. And I was like, okay, cool. It was like maybe 3 blocks from my job. So I didn't have a problem with just, meeting him there. And so I got to his home office, which was really where he lived. And
I had a desk in the corner, so,
Yeah, right. So when I got there, he was playing Biggie Smalls. And I was like, oh, my God. Like, really, seriously. But I remember us being in the kitchen, and I was standing by your fridge as you were making me a drink, and I was like, what's beef? And then you started spitting it, and then we kind of started spitting it together. And I was like, okay, he's not frightened. Okay, he got a little swag, And, after he got himself together, we ended up leaving out and heading downtown to his restaurant for dinner. So.
Oh, that was my night job, by the way. I was a job recruiter by day, but I was a partner at a restaurant at night.
Right, yeah, he's a hustler all around, pretty much. What it says, rise and grind.
That's our motto.
So anyway.
Rise and grind and give God your glory.
Yes, I love it. But while we were in a car, in our taxi on downtown, on our way downtown, he told me, he was like.
I just want to get one thing perfectly clear. I'm not trying to be your buddy. I'm not trying to offer you any more jobs. I like you. And I want you to know that up front.
And I was clear, and I was like, well, let me let you know. I'm not looking for anything. So as long as we both have this understanding. And so we went out that night. We had a really good time. And then that was that for that evening. We hung out a few more times after that. And it was like the more I hung out with him, the more I got to know him, the more I liked him as a person. Just, just as friends, even though he didn't really want to be friends. But I thought he was a really cool person. So what actually really set it off was when he invited me to dinner one day. And over dinner, he told me that he was meeting up with some of his friends from back in the days. They were basically going to do a reunion in Belize. And Belize was actually on my bucket list, a place to visit. And so when he invited me to Belize with him to basically visit his friends or to this reunion, he told me, like, some of my buddies are bringing their wives and their girlfriends, and I just didn't want to go alone. I'm wondering if you want to go. And I was like, hell yeah, I want to go to Belize. And he was like, okay, I'm going to ask you tomorrow when you're not drinking. I said, it doesn't matter if I'm drinking. I'm not drunk.
Yeah.
I want to go. He's like, okay, I'm going to get the tickets. I'm like, okay, I'm going. He was like, okay.
She thought I was bluffing.
I did. And it's so weird because when I got home that night, I told my sisters, and my sister was like, you don't know this man. You better not go to Belize with him. I'm like, well, actually, I do know him. It's just that, you guys haven't met him. He's really cool, and I'm going to Belize. So I'm sorry. Just pray for me, you guys. I wasn't worried. I didn't feel like, threatened or like you were kind of like,
I had a slight mix-up about the final destination. Originally, it was supposed to be Belize, but it was really Honduras. And it's funny because I didn't know Honduras was a murder capital of the world. So I'm glad I didn't tell her that. But no, Honduras is beautiful.
It is.
I was going down there to try to learn how to scuba dive, and we just had a great time.
Wow. Honestly, God must have been in the mix of that, because had he said, do you want to come to Honduras with me? I would have been like, no, I'm good. Because I wasn't interested in going to Honduras. It's so funny because that same year, my sister and I went to Paris. But prior to us booking our trip to Paris, I was trying to encourage her to go to Belize, but she was not interested. So when he mentioned Belize, it was just so happened that I'm like, oh my God, I was really trying to go to Belize. So it just worked out like that. So needless to say, he ended up booking tickets to Honduras and not Belize. But because I already, I'm committed to going, I went anyway. Now, what impressed me about David was the fact that he was bilingual. When we got to the airport, he started speaking fluent Spanish. I was like,
Hey, ¿qué pasa?
okay. So, and then we actually went out there and we had a blast. Like, I got to know him, like, for who he was. I got to know him spiritually, and he was just a really cool, down-to-earth, spiritual guy, and I liked him for who he was. We were out there for, 5 days?
Yeah, something like
so
that.
we were out there for about 5 days. We had a great time.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, it just kind of, everything just changed, changed the dynamic of our relationship at that moment. Woo, look at the camera.
I can't help it,
So when we got back from Honduras, we literally spent every day together.
Yeah, I would book her for 2-3 days straight.
Yeah.
Not what are you doing tonight? What are you doing tonight, the next day, and the day after?
Yeah, so I forgot about that.
Yeah.
When he used to invite me out before we went to the trip, he's like, oh, hey, do you have any plans this weekend? I was thinking Friday we can go to the movies, Saturday we can go to this lounge, and Sunday we can go to brunch. I'm like, hold on. Who asked somebody on a date for the whole weekend? Like, you want my entire weekend? I'm busy. But eventually I realized, like, yo, this guy is awesome. And he is always, like, just on top of things, always on point, always have things laid out, planned out. And I always had, and even now, I always have a good time with you.
Yeah.
And so, like I said, when we got back from Honduras, we hung out every day. It was the end of June. So when we got back, it was the 4th of July.
Uh-huh.
We hung out with each other. We did a rooftop party,
Yeah.
and that was pretty cute.
We saw the fireworks.
Yeah, so it was
Yeah.
so it was like no, that was a different year.
Oh, really?
We ended up doing a rooftop at a hotel,
Oh, okay.
and so
That's right. We couldn't see the fireworks that year.
yeah, we did that another year,
Yeah.
but I still wasn't sold. I just was like, okay, he's cool to hang out with. You know what I'm saying? He got some pulls. We walking up in places. We ain't got to stand in no lines. Honestly, the more I hung out with him, the more I started to like him. The following week was my birthday, and he just had literally the entire weekend planned out. It was awesome. I don't know if you want to share that story.
Yeah,
you
that's
just
cool.
sum it up.
I mean, she had mentioned to me at some point when we were talking that she had never seen The Lion King. And we weren't even talking about going to see it. We were just talking about different things that we wanted to do. So, I planned, a weekend. We had dinner nearby. She happened to mention that, the car that she was looking to get was a Range Rover. So I picked her up in a Range Rover. And took her to the restaurant. He waited outside. We went to the Lion King. We had a great night. And
After the Lion King, we went to a rooftop. He got me a little section. I invited some girls over to our table. We just had a great weekend. I think the next day I had a beach party you didn't attend.
Right.
But Sunday night you ended up taking me to a rooftop restaurant.
And I just want to mention one thing because I just thought of this. Steph was never like, oh yeah, I'll take it. Oh yeah, I'll take it. She was always like really mindful of my spending, not saying yes to things just to say yes, and just like real quick, like I bought her like a new MacBook for one of the holidays. I forget what it was, and she was like, "This is way overkill for what I need it for." Like I just do a lot of writing, and I'm not doing that much editing, so I wouldn't even be using half of this computer. So just take it back, put it away. That was down the line when we were more involved with each other, but it was like, just stick it in the bank, So, we had a great time, but she was also really considerate. And I knew from the beginning she was the right one,
Uh-huh. So I still was unsure. So we came back. We had a great time for my birthday. The following week, I went to Paris with my sister. And while I was in Paris, David sent me some flowers and he sent a bottle of champagne to my room. And it was that moment that I realized, like, I'm going to be with this man. Because he just put a lot of time and effort into just trying to win me over. And he won me over. And so, we celebrated, we popped a bottle, we drank. My sister was like, he seems like a really good guy. And I'm like, I think I want to be with him. And she was like, oh my God, are you serious? Because I've been single for a few years prior to that. So she was really like, surprised when I told her, like, I think I'm ready for a relationship now.
Yeah, I just have to chime in on the Paris thing. So I don't know if y'all know, but like in Paris, there's this thing, it's a bridge. And everybody, it's like this really romantic
It's called
thing.
the Lock Bridge. The Love Lock Bridge. Something like that. The
Love Lock Bridge or something like that. So anyway, people take padlocks and they write a name on both sides. So like you write your name and your significant other or the person you want to be your significant other on the other side. And she told me about it. And did I give you a lock? Like one of my gym locks. I'm not sure,
but I did have a lock.
Yeah, but she had a lock, and like I was just like, I want my name on one side of that lock, and I want Steph's name on the other side of the lock. And like she kind of didn't tell me about it, and then she took a picture of it, and I saw my name on the other side of the lock. So I was
Is that why you sent the flowers and the champagne?
No, you got the flowers first.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And so, but yeah, it was like at that moment that I realized, we locked it up. But I knew that, like, I love the effort that he actually put into making this happen. Mm-hmm. And, and since then, we traveled together. We just do a lot of great things and a lot of fun things together. Like, he's my best friend. I love hanging out with him. He's just awesome. Mm-hmm. And so, that's our story. Yeah. I guess like Paris told me, showed me that, okay, this is a guy that I'm willing to make it work with. And so that's when I was ready to kind of just take that next, step with you. Mm-hmm. And so that's our story, you guys.
Yeah. In a nutshell, there's a lot of,
there's a lot of layers, stories, right? But that's the gist of it.
Yeah, that'll be the next episode.
Yeah, no, I was actually going to make this a 2-part video only because there were so many layers that I didn't get into. Only because I didn't want to make this video so long, but
we hope you enjoyed it.
Yes, we do.
Every minute, and please stay tuned for more.
Yes, and if you guys like this video, please make sure you hit that like button. But we want to thank you guys for watching, and until next time.